You're standing at the edge of your camp. The sun is dropping fast. Somewhere 3 days walk away, past a river and over a mountain pass is another village. And they need to know something. Something dangerous is coming their way. You have no phone, no paper, no horse, just your voice, your hands, and whatever you can carry. So how do you get a message 40 miles away before it's too late? The answer isn't one trick. It's a whole toolkit humans built over thousands of years, and some of it is so advanced it sounds like it shouldn't have existed yet. Let's start with the loudest option. In parts of West and Central Africa, villages used drums that didn't just make noise. They talked, literally. Languages like Yoruba and Kele are tonal, meaning pitch changes the meaning of a word. So drummers figured out they could mimic those pitch patterns on a drum and send actual sentences, not just alarms. In the 1940s, missionary and linguist John Carrington documented talking drums in the Congo that could relay a full message. Not danger, but specific, detailed information, across village after village, each one repeating and passing it forward. A message could travel over 100 miles in a single afternoon, faster than a man could run it, faster, in some cases, than a man on horseback. So how did people move a message across terrain that was even worse? Go halfway around the world to the Andes, around 1400 AD. The Inca Empire stretched over 2,500 miles of some of the harshest terrain on Earth. No horses, no wheels really on those mountain paths. Instead, they built a relay system called the chasqui. Young, trained runners stationed every mile or two along stone roads, each one sprinting full speed to the next post, shouting the message to the next runner, who took off immediately. Spanish chroniclers later recorded that news could travel 1,200 miles from Quito to Cusco in under 5 days. Human legs moving in relay outran anything else on that continent. Fire did something similar, but for one-word messages that needed to move instantly. The ancient Greeks used beacon chains, towers with fires built high on mountaintops, spaced so each one was visible from the next. Light one, and the next tower lights theirs. And the next. And the next. The playwright Aeschylus described a beacon relay carrying news of the fall of Troy across roughly 400 miles of sea and mountains in a single night. One fire, then another. Then another. That's it. That's the whole message. But it worked because everyone already knew what that one signal meant. Here's where it gets stranger. On the island of La Gomera, in the Canary Islands, there's a language made entirely of whistles. It's called Silbo Gomero, and it's not a code laid over Spanish, it's an actual transformation of the language into pitch and tone, shaped by the tongue, teeth, and hands. A skilled whistler can carry a full conversation across a valley up to 5 miles wide, echoing off the volcanic rock. Farmers used it to talk across canyons that would have taken hours to walk around. It's still taught in schools on the island today. Not a myth, not simplified. A real, functioning language for talking to someone you cannot see and cannot reach. Long before any of this, the Persian Empire had already solved the same problem on a massive scale. Around 500 BC, King Darius I built the Royal Road, a highway stretching roughly 1,600 miles from Susa to Sardis. Along it, he placed mounted relay stations spaced a day's ride apart, each stocked with a fresh horse and rider ready to go. A message would be handed off, rider to rider, horse to horse, without ever stopping. The Greek historian Herodotus described it like this: neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor darkness stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. A journey that would normally take 3 months on foot could be covered by the relay in about 9 days. That line from Herodotus, by the way, is the same one carved into the James Farley Post Office in New York today. The unofficial Postal Service motto written 2,500 years before there was a postal service. And it wasn't just runners and riders. Ancient Egyptians and Romans both used trained homing pigeons to carry short written messages tied to their legs. A pigeon released 100 miles from home could fly back in under 2 hours, reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour in a straight line. No roads, no relay stations, no rest stops needed. Julius Caesar reportedly used pigeon messengers during military campaigns to report troop movements faster than any horse could travel. The bird didn't know it was carrying anything important. It just knew where home was, and that instinct turned into one of the fastest communication systems in the ancient world. So how did you send a message when there was no fire to spare and no flag to wave? Smoke worked on the same idea as fire, just for daylight hours. Along the Great Wall of China, soldiers built thousands of beacon towers, and by controlling the type of fuel, straw versus wolf dung versus wet wood, they could change the color and thickness of the smoke to send different warnings. Number of enemy troops, direction of approach. Historical records describe messages moving across hundreds of miles of wall in a matter of hours, tower to tower, without a single rider needed. Flags and signal fires got even more precise once armies needed to send more than just yes or no. Ancient Chinese and later European militaries developed semaphore systems, using flag positions, arm angles, or mechanical arms mounted on towers to spell out letters and numbers. In the late 1700s, the French Chappe semaphore network connected Paris to Lille, over 130 miles, using a relay of towers with moving wooden arms. A trained operator could read the shape of the arms through a telescope and pass it to the next tower. A message that would take a rider a full day to deliver could cross that entire distance in under 30 minutes. Not with electricity, not with sound, just wood, shape, and someone paying very close attention. Native American groups across the Great Plains used smoke signals with the same logic as the Great Wall beacons, but with even more nuance. A single puff meant one thing. A series of short puffs meant something else entirely. Blocking and releasing the smoke column with a blanket let a sender essentially punctuate the message, turning a plume of smoke into something closer to Morse code than a simple warning flare. Scouts miles away on high ground could read it without ever hearing a single word spoken. And in Aboriginal Australia, some groups used message sticks, carved pieces of wood with patterns cut into them representing the content of a message. A messenger would carry the stick to another group, sometimes walking for days, and the carvings acted as both proof of authority and a memory aid for reciting the full message accurately, word for word, exactly as it was given. The stick wasn't the message. It was what let the message survive the journey without changing. Every single one of these systems solved the same problem in a different environment. Drums where sound carried far through dense forest. Runners where the land was too rough for anything else. Fire and smoke where visibility stretched for miles. Whistles where mountains and canyons swallowed normal speech. Sticks where the message needed to survive days of travel without distortion. No wires, no satellites, no electricity. Just people who refused to accept that distance meant silence. Now here's the part that should actually humble you a little. You have a device in your pocket that can send a message to a person on the other side of the planet in under 1 second. And somehow you still leave someone on read for 3 days. Your ancestors were out here whistling across active volcanoes to tell their cousin that dinner's ready, and you can't answer a text that just says, "You up?" A chasqui runner would sprint for miles, straight up a mountain, at altitude, in sandals to deliver news on time. You get winded walking up one flight of stairs to avoid talking to your neighbor in the elevator. Somebody in the Congo could send a full paragraph through a drum faster than your group chat can agree on a restaurant. A Persian rider would change horses mid-gallop rather than lose a single minute. Meanwhile, you've got 5G, autocorrect, voice-to-text, and unlimited data, and you still send K. And think about the stakes. A missed beacon signal in ancient Greece could mean a city didn't know an army was coming. A garbled message stick could start a conflict between groups who never even met face-to-face. These people got messages across mountains, oceans, and hundreds of miles of hostile land with zero margin for error, using fire, wood, and their own 2 lungs. You have unlimited data, and you still text, "Sent you an email, check your spam folder." We were never disconnected. We just had to earn every word.